Okay, let's motor on then and tackle the next discussion topic as voted for by you, Fans Pulse Lap 2. Just before we dive into Fans Pulse Lap 2, just a reminder that each Sunday evening, sometimes Monday morning, we will post on our Facebook page 5 or 6 candidate discussion topics, and we ask you to click on the link and vote, select for the up to 3 or 4 topics that you would like us to feature in that week's episode. So watch out Sunday evenings / Monday morning for the candidate subjects each week. Okay, have you ever been aboard a speedway bike is the question. I don't mean just being sat on one to get a photograph taken. I mean actually tried riding one, or if not racing one. It's only natural when you watch these guys and girls do their stuff year after year that, you know, as supporters or as mere mortals might want to just give it a try and experience it a little bit. It took me about 20 seconds one day at a training school at Glasgow to realise that which side of the fence that I really belong to. So, and that was after ending up in the fence, but that's a whole other story. Listen, with these guys at hand, I thought I'd lean on them a lot to help us mere mortals form a better understanding of what it's really like to race a speedway bike. So guys, who better than you three? You've been there, you've raced. Can you try and help us form a sense of some of the emotions and some of the kind of first-hand experience of racing speedway? So I'm just talking about the racing part. So top of the head stuff, Stewart McDonald, I'll bring you in first. Top of the head stuff, describe the feeling in the best possible way using the fewest expletives that you can. Can you compare it to anything else relatable in life, Stuart?
Absolutely not. It is the ultimate buzz, honestly. I think we can all agree that unless you've ridden a speedway bike, you've never lived. You know, you talk about it, Derek, going on the bike and going round the track, and you obviously started right away and maybe thought, not for me. But the minute I went on a bike, it was just like, wow. And I just wanted to go faster and faster. And I think when you actually start racing and getting to sort of really high, I mean, I got to a reasonable level, but, you know, Nigel got to heat leader status, 10-point plus average. And watching Nigel a lot of the times when I was racing, you look at the speed that he gets and you just want to be as fast as that because he was fast, no doubt about it. But the buzz going round a track, I mean, you can go round a track like Armadale and you're maybe doing 50, 60 miles an hour tops, and it's a great buzz. But then you go to, I mean, Sheffield, I remember even Exeter, back in the day when Exeter was, and you would be 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. And the buzz is just, it's another level. You know, I've done a lot of extreme things in my life. Snowboarding, motocross, road bikes. Speedway racing is the ultimate buzz. I mean, who can say anything against no brakes, no gears, and not to 60 in under 3 seconds? I mean, come on. It has got to be the best buzz on the planet. I don't care what anybody says. And none of this electric, futuristic stuff. Proper speedway bikes. And honestly, I can't, it's just amazing. It makes the hairs in the back of my neck stand up thinking about racing, honestly, even at the age I am. I mean, Nigel will still get that feeling from he rode in the 50s. But I think that when you look at nowadays, you know, it's just flat out. And it's great to watch, great to be in that position. Not so great if you know you're going through the fence at 75 miles an hour, thanks to Neil Collins, which I may add. But no doubt about it, it's the ultimate buzz, absolutely.
Andy Meredith, let's not talk about going through the fence at 60 miles an hour, Andy, but same question to you, Andy. You know, top of your head description of what it's like to race speedway.
It's amazing. You know, when you're going flat out, you know, when everything's going right, you're on the edge of the dirt and you're literally railing it around the outside. They're battling shoulder to shoulder with other riders. You cannot get a better feeling. You know, it's certainly with your clothes on anyway. You know, it's a great you know, environment to be in as well. And you know, the racing's hard, fair. You know, it's just brilliant. You can't get better, in my opinion.
Nigel, you know, so many times I and other commentators on Speedway have described it as gladiatorial, right? And I like that description because it ticks lots of boxes and it sounds and looks very gladiatorial. But same question to you, Nigel. It's only fair to ask you the very same question as the other lads. have tried to answer. Top of
Well,
your
when
head, Nigel,
things,
what's it
when
like?
things are going right, it's the best thing in the world. When things are going right, and you just sort of move from one meeting to the next, one day to the next, and you're on cloud nine really, and you seem as you can do nothing wrong, and it's brilliant. That is unbelievable. I mean, I've heard John McGuinness, the road racing boy around Isle of Man and that, Carl Fogarty, and they've all said, to ride a speedway bike, you've got to be nuts. This is these lads that's telling you've got to be nuts to ride a speedway bike when you're going past the corner of an out on one wheel at 200 miles an hour. So, and then boys are telling you they're nuts. So it's got to be something special, hasn't it? When McGuinness, Fogarty are saying them things, there must be something special about it. And as I say, when it's going well, and I had the odd year or two myself where it were going well, and you can't wait for the next meeting and one thing and another, and it can't come quick enough, and you can't get enough meetings. When it's going bad, the next meeting comes around far too quick. But yeah, I don't know. It's good when things are going right, isn't it? Like anything else in life, or possibly this is a lot different, obviously, but it's just brilliant. When it's going right, It's brilliant. You're scoring points. Everybody wants a piece of you and everything like this. It's absolutely brilliant. When it's going bad and everybody's ripping your back out, then it takes a bit of handling, like. But hey, that's life in general, isn't it?
Stuart,
Sorry to interrupt, Derek. I just wanted to speak about Nigel there. Nigel obviously hasn't ridden for a long time, similar to myself and Andy. But if you actually look behind Nigel's small head there, you'll see that he's actually been on a bike more recent than what we all know. So do you want to explain what that is, Nigel? Is that your two grandkids you're out there racing with?
It is. I've said it before, haven't I? My grandkids, well, they're 21-year-old now, and they used to, I have said this before, they went to Les and Aidan Collins, they do a ride and skid it day, and my grandkids have been there many, many times, and Aidan is absolutely first class, and anybody that was thinking about wanting to have a go at Speedway, that has been absolutely brilliant. It's just so good. They've been taught how to ride, not by me because I don't get involved with them. Aidan, Les, Adam Allett, Carl Stonia goes there teaching different people, and it's just such a good way without anybody spending a lot of money to see if they want to have a go. Okay, it's only on 125s, but my grandkids now have gone from the 125s onto the grass track, and they're doing grass track. And what was really nice, last weekend they were out at a meeting. The mechanic wasn't up to a lot like because he kept breaking down. So mechanic wants sacking, I reckon, but never mind. We'll get over that. But Aidan turned up and he were helping the lads and geeing them on. It was really nice that Aidan had taken time out. He sort of taught them whatever they know, and they've moved on to grass track, and Aidan were there trying to help them again, absolutely brilliant. But what a way, you can go to Aidan, I don't know, pay your fees, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. That's it, costs you nothing. You don't buy bikes, anything. And if you fancy it, then you go and buy your bike. Absolutely brilliant. The way forward, I think. The way forward.
That's a great product that Aidan and Les are behind.
Absolutely brilliant, Derek. I can't say enough good about it, And there's people there, 60, 70-year-old, always fancy to go at Speedway, but never got around to it for whatever reason, and they're going and just having a go on these 125s round the track. And believe you me, these 125s, when you get them revving out and everything, you can ride them flat out, and it's just like riding on a Speedway bike on a Speedway.
Almost tempting, Nigel. Almost tempting. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Derek, you should go. But if you go in, let me know and I'll come.
I would do that, Nigel. I would do that.
Listen, Derek, if a 75-year-old can do it, you can do it.
That's what I was thinking. That was the bit that encouraged me. Yeah. And listen, Aidan Collins, good evening, Aidan, if you happen to be looking in. I'll never forgive Aidan for scaring the bejesus out of me one day a long time ago at Glasgow when he came through the Fourth Bend fence right in front of 2 feet in front of where I was standing. But thankfully there was no damage done. I'm sure you remember it, Aidan. Stuart McDonald, back to the discussion topic. A serious question, Stuart McDonald. Is Speedway an addiction?
Yes, 100%. I think once you've started to go on, whether it's a 125 or 250, I think that's it. You know, we all have jobs, we all do something that we love or something that pays the bills, but I think with Speedway, once you get that bug, I don't think it ever goes away. I mean, Nigel was on a bike recently with his grandkids, and then obviously he would still add a little bit of a buzz, which you can see. And I think that it's I don't think there is anything that compares to it. And once you start, it's a bit like golf. You know, I play golf every few months, and you know what? If you go out and hit 102, you still want to go out again and hit another 102. And if you ride a Speedway bike and you fall off in the first bend, you just want to get up and do it again. And unfortunately, my first 2 years, I think I must have had more hospital visits than I've had hot dinners. But that once you start, you just want to go on it every day. And fortunate enough, in my position, we had Linlithgow that you could go to, Derek, 3-4 times a week. And if my dad wasn't getting his head pecked, my mum was to take me. And let's say once it gets a grip of you, it's an addiction 100%.
Now, I'm going to ask you another quick question, Stuart. Now, Andy and Nigel, I'll ask you this very same question. So let's break it down a little bit, Stuart. Right? So you think of all the motions, all the actions, all the activities that go into completing a heat of Speedway, right? So when you break it down, which element of a Speedway race gave you personally, Stuart, the biggest adrenaline rush? Is it, for example, is it leaving the start gate? Is it pulling an outside pass? Is it crossing the line to the checkered flag? What was it that you can you put your finger on the one thing that you would love to do over and over and over and over, and it was better than anything else in a Speedway race?
I think one of my favourite occasions when I was a rider was definitely going round the boards and going round somebody, or 2 riders, whatever. I've got fond memories of Powder Hall that I used to race in the second halves, and the outside was so deep, and the buzz you got from getting into that bend in third position and coming out first was the ultimate for me. Listen, winning a race, beating people like, you know, your heroes, when I beat Kenny McKenna or when I beat Peter Carr, great buzz. But there's no better buzz than getting into a bend in second or third and coming out of it in first place.
Andy Meredith, same question to you. If you break down a heat into sort of, compartments, if you like, what was the one part of a race that gave you the biggest buzz?
I think with certainly going past the checkered flag, if you knew that you'd been in a good race, as Stuart's saying there, and you'd been round and cut back underneath people, and round the outside, and you've gone shoulder to shoulder, going across that finish line in front, was the biggest buzz of all for me. 100%, and then feeling the crowd, and it was just you can't get better in my opinion.
Nigel.
15-point maximum.
I can understand that. I'm sure you had many, Nigel.
I didn't get many of them.
I'm sure you had many.
I had a few at Glasgow, didn't I? But also, when we was at Stoke, Andy will know this, we weren't that brilliant a team, were we, Andy? And we had quite a lot of last heat deciders, and quite a bit of the time it'd be Eric Moran and myself. Well, we always seemed to ride okay together. Nothing ever planned, but it was always nice to win a meeting and get a 5-1 to win the meeting. It really set the crowd buzzing, didn't it, and everything, because you'd won in the last race. You got all the pressure of it, and then you go over the finishing line, and all that pressure is finally gone, and you've won. It was brilliant, but yeah, the best one was a 15, even better than that, 18-point maximum, because you earned a bit more money then.
Fish supper on the way home again, Nigel. Nigel, what about the physicality of Speedway? Was that a part of the sport that you particularly enjoyed? And what I'm talking about in my head is, or what I'm referring to is, when you were literally elbow to elbow, or you were pushing people a little bit physically on the bends and things like that. Is that something you relished?
Yeah, I didn't mind. I took, some races were harder than others, weren't they? And some riders would give you an harder time than others, and you'd got to be able to give them an hard time back, or you got walked all over. You were beat every time you met them riders if you weren't careful. But yeah, there was hard races, and some riders would leave your room. Some riders wouldn't leave you. I mean, Eric Monahan, when I rode against him, when he rode at Mildenhall, he was terrible. He'd run you up the fence with Eric, and I were mates with him. And like, I can remember coming round the outside of him. Well, Eric Hollis rode wide, and I was passing him right outside. And how I got through to this day, I don't know, because he'd leave you no room. Eric wouldn't. He was a real hard rider, was Eric. But, it's just, I don't know. For me, getting a maximum, having a full night, unbeaten, that was a nice feeling.
Stuart McDonald, if I offered you, time travel and all that stuff, if I offered you the opportunity to switch motorsport disciplines to something else and have greater individual success in another sport, or relive and re-experience your whole Speedway career exactly as it was, which would you go for?
It's quite a tough one, Derek. I had quite a lot of success playing football prior to Speedway. I was fortunate enough to get capped for my country at football against England at Love Street, and it was my big passion. But the minute I stepped on a Speedway bike, everything else went. And if I had to go back, like you say, I would 100% go back and race Speedway all over again. But with this experienced head this time, instead of the inexperienced 16-year-old, honestly, if you could go back to 16 years of age and have the experience myself, Andy and Nigel's got, honestly, we would be the Phil Taylors of Speedway. We'd be 15, 16 times world champion, but I would go back and relive it all. I would do it all again.
Final question, Stuart. I'll stick with you, then I'll go to Andy and Nigel. If there's any prospective young Speedway riders watching this tonight and, has been a little bit encouraged by some of the memories and the emotions and the feelings that you guys have described, what would you say to them right now, Stuart, in terms of whether they should or shouldn't pursue Speedway?
100% pursue it. If it's your dream, pursue it. At the end of the day, you'll know yourself when you step on a Speedway bike whether it's your dream or not, because trust me, the buzz you get right away is unbelievable. And if you don't blast the distance, it's maybe not been for you, maybe the heart's not been the right place to desire. But 100%, just stick at it, stay positive, don't listen to anybody around about you. Stay, and obviously the negativities, if you like, but 100% just stay focused and follow your dreams.
Andy, what would you say to your 16-year-old self?
A lot, really. If I could go back, I'd say a lot to myself. But yeah, I mean, as Stuart said there, anybody coming into the sport, just keep level-headed, and enjoy it. That's the main thing, is to enjoy every moment, because there'll be lots of opportunities along the way, and give it your best. Come away from whatever you've done and give it your best. That's all you can do.
Nigel, if you don't mind me saying, in a previous episode, you have shared that you've talked about your grandson, but you have shared that you've kind of discouraged them from following the Speedway route, which might appear at odds with what we've just been talking about. But can you help just to bring that alive a little bit?
I mean, I don't know. You've got to be prepared to work hard and dedicate yourself to it. You might not be a natural bike rider. I wasn't. I'd got no natural ability whatsoever. I've said this before to you. I had no ability on a motorbike whatsoever, any sort of motorbike. I've got no ability. What I did have to get where I got, which wasn't a long way in the sport, but I sort of held my own in the second division a bit. Hard work, determination, and hunger. I had to score points to survive, because a bit like the Australians, when they come over here, I got married, I had a mortgage, we had a daughter. Nobody, we're not going to the bank manager and saying I had a bad ride last night. I'll pay you next week. Because he wouldn't have had that, would he? So you've got to have the determination, hard work, and hunger to want to do well. And even if you're not a natural bike rider, don't forget Ivan Major, possibly the best rider there's ever been, because don't forget now, they go into Poland all the time. Everybody rides all over the world nowadays. In them days, they only rode in England, and you went to Poland for a one-off world final, and that was it. Ivan Maidy was 6 times world champion, and I do believe possibly one of the best rider there's ever been. And Ivan got sent home because he was no good. And he wasn't a natural bike rider, but what he had was hard work and determination. He wanted to be world champion. He wasn't a natural bike rider, but he was a hard worker with loads of determination. And look where that got him. So, you know, if you've got that desire, that hunger, that determination to want to get there, you can live your dream. You can, I'm sure.
I like it, Nigel. Wise words from Nigel, and some motivational as well. Motivational speaking from Nigel and Stuart and Andy. Listen, they might, if you've heard anything from the guys that surprised you or didn't surprise you, please, you'll get in touch. If you have put your leg across a speedway bike and twisted the throttle, no matter to what standard or to what speed, like myself, 20 miles an hour, Derek, then you know, share your experience with us, share your thoughts on everything that we've just discussed. Right, let's pick up some of your messages and comments submitted through all the various channels available to you: WhatsApp, email, social media. You choose your preferred method of getting in touch. First up, and a welcome back from Witch Wendy from Suffolkshire. And Witch Wendy says, another points raid at Bellevue. Us witches were superb from 1 to 7, now top and looking the part home and away. Still a big job to do, of course. Which Wendy, that's a reference, obviously, to Monday night's TNT Sports Live Premiership clash on our telly boxes. It was an immense meeting on Monday night. Credit to both sides, who in the end couldn't be separated after 15 heats. But a dramatic night, and the witches, to your point, which Wendy really tested the home side. Psychological advantage. Absolutely to the witches. Bellevue will point to being without Jamin Lindsay through injury. Witches might very well point to an under par performance from Jason Doyle. 5 points, I think Jason scored. So yes, if those two sides were to meet again in the playoffs, that would be very, very tasty. Nick C from Nuneaton has been in touch. Superb and historic knockout cup win for the Lions. Great job, lads. No reason why we can't now chase that league title too. We fear no one. Yes, credit to Stuart Dixon and the Leicester Lions, who landed that major top flight silverware for the first time ever. Done the job over Kingsland, over both legs, and repeated the dose in the championship on Monday night at Kingsland. Yeah, listen, Leicester should have nothing to fear. They possibly are the form team of the top 4. They're now cemented. They're guaranteed a playoff spot, and they shouldn't fear any side, Ipswich, Bellevue, or Sheffield. The Lions have the riders home and away who certainly could take them back to the final, and obviously they'll be looking, Nick, to go one step further than they managed a season ago. Mank Mel has been back in touch. Mank Mel from Oldham, back in touch via email. Again, reference to Monday night's meeting. I previously messaged and said advantage Ipswich. You did, Mank Mel. Monday night's result hasn't changed my mind. We need to find something extra and quickly. Do you know, of the two managers, it's an obvious thing to say, but Richie Hawkins will be the most satisfied. Psychological advantage, I already said that a couple of minutes ago to which Wendy's message. And, you know, Mark Lemon must be scratching his head a little bit. He must have some concerns about the occasional lack of dominance at home, is how I'm going to describe it. Bellevue have the talent, they have the riders to blow any club away around the NSS, but all too often for Mark's liking, I'm quite sure, they don't quite do it. And questionable away form at times as well. So I would agree with your assessment, Mank Mel. Advantage Ipswich, certainly in the psychology stakes. Scorp Ian, who has messaged before, Scorp Ian from Goole has been in touch via WhatsApp. Thanks for doing so, Scorp Ian. I need to be honest and say that us Scorps have little to look forward to now. We've slipped out of the top four and needing snookers. So disappointing. Listen, what can I say, Scorpion? Your team has and will continue, I think, to slip down the championship now. They've slipped up too many times at home. They were absolutely hammered, if you don't mind me saying that, at my club Glasgow last Friday night. They've got a tricky trip back up to Scotland on Friday night to face Edinburgh. I would suggest it's all only pride to play for the Scorpions. Not quite sure why it's gone so wrong, Ian, but I'm sure in the winter months there'll be some dissection and analysis, and it'll be interesting to hear your end of season report card. That's all for now. Some more messages to come in segment 3, I think, of this week's episode. If you haven't yet been in touch with us, please do so. What's stopping you? Please take advantage of the many options that you have: email, WhatsApp, social media, and get in touch and just empty your head of any thoughts or opinions that you might have on anything Speedway.